Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be doing another power rankings video. I'm going to be ranking every team in the AFL. It's going to be my final one of the home and away season. I will do one just before the final series starts and I'll rank all the top 8 teams. But as for ranking every single team in the competition, this will be the final one of the year. So I would say, without further ado, let's get into it. I'll quickly zip through the bottom few teams because they're a bit irrelevant for the finals race, but I will be going into more depth on the higher ranked sides and especially the sides that are premiership fancies this season. Starting things off with 18th spot, and perhaps unsurprisingly, we've got North Melbourne here. I don't need to tell you why they're in last spot, 2 wins for the year, and a percentage almost as bad as Melbourne's back in 2013. They've just been terrible and probably won't win another game this year. In 17th spot now, we've got the West Coast Eagles, who haven't really been much better than North this season. In the first half of the year, they were absolutely atrocious. They were getting hammered week in, week out. They almost broke the record for most 50-point losses in a row, but after the halfway point they turned it around a little bit. They've only registered the one more win since, although they have been more competitive in most of their losses. Still been a horrible year for them though. In 16th spot now, we've got the GWS Giants, definitely the most disappointing team of 2022. A lot of people expected them to make finals this year, but it just hasn't planned out that way at all. They obviously had a shocking start, resulting in the sacking of their coach, or the mutual agreement to resign, or however they put it. And I mean, they had a brief patch of better form, but since then it's all been downhill. They've been getting flogged a fair bit lately. Rounding out the bottom 4 here, we've got the Adelaide Crows. They've gone down 1 spot since last power ranking video. Could potentially be 16th if they didn't get that win against Carlton, which puts them 1 ahead of GWS. Well, the Crows, they've been consistently putting in the effort, not consistently getting the results though. Of course, they did get the win last weekend, and that's good for them, but they're still definitely well below where most teams are right now. 14th spot now, we have the Hawks. On the actual ladder, they're 13th. However, I think that Essendon have been in slightly better form than them, as they have been getting wins over better sides than the Hawks. Hawthorn did win 3 games in a row just recently. However, they were against the bottom 2 sides and Adelaide, who are ranked 15th. So, look, impressive wins, but they were against lower ranked sides, so can't read into them too much. In 13th spot now, the other team I just mentioned just then, Essendon, had a very shocking first half of the year, but they're in some pretty decent form now. And if it wasn't for that first half of the year, they'd probably be in finals contention. They would certainly be in finals contention. Now we start looking at the teams who mathematically still can make finals. Port Adelaide being the first of those, who I have in 12th spot on my power rankings list. I can't really see them making finals from here. They've been pretty decent ever since their 0-5 start, but that 0-5 start has really cost them in the end. They've had a couple of close finishes lately, but just haven't been able to get over the line, and I think it's fair to say their season is all but done now. It'll take some sort of a miracle from here to get them into the finals, but I just can't see it happening. I can't see them winning all of their last 3 and every other result going their way. So Port Adelaide, I think it's fair to put them in 12th spot. The Gold Coast Suns now in 11th spot. They're on 1 more win than Port Adelaide. Again, they still can make finals. I think it's unlikely that will be the case. They've just left it a little bit too late. It looked actually like it was a very real possibility for a while there, but had that really disappointing loss against Essendon and a couple more really narrow losses before that, and their season just looked done, but next year maybe next year is the year that they finally make finals. They've been in the system now, what, for 11 or 12 years, haven't made finals once. Maybe next year is the year, but I just can't see it happening this year. And I think they are the 11th best team right now. Alright, we've had a look at the bottom 8 teams now, and now we're going to start looking at the teams that I think can realistically still make finals. In 10th spot, I've got the Bulldogs. Now, they're currently sitting on 10 wins, just 1 win outside the top 8. Lost to Geelong, it was expected, but still pretty costly. Yeah, especially seeing that they did actually lead for a fair chunk of that game. In fact, they led for the entire first half and had more time in front than Geelong in the end. So, well, like I said, there's still only 1 win outside the top 8. They probably need some things to go their way. I potentially could have put them 9th or 8th, because I think they have been in pretty good form as of late. But whether they make finals, I think they're probably one of the most interesting teams to watch in terms of who makes finals or not. Right now I have them as the 10th best team in the competition. Their defense, I mean, really, if they had a good defense, they'd be definitely one of the top teams, but yeah, their backline is really shaky, and it has been all season, and ever since that grand final, really, it's become really shaky. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether they make finals or not, the Dogs. In 9th spot now, I've got a team that is actually currently in the top 8, and that is St Kilda. The Saints, I think it's going to be tough for them to make finals, although this list isn't really based on who I think will make finals. It does sort of take that into account, but that's not the only thing that this list takes into account. The Saints, they are, well, they're not really a win ahead of Richmond, as Richmond had a draw the other week, so they're actually half a win ahead of Richmond. They're on 11 wins, tough fixture. Their last 2 wins against West Coast and Hawthorn haven't really been overly convincing. West Coast, they won by 28 points, which is, it's not that big of a win considering their opponent. And against Hawthorn, they looked good until they almost choked that game. That would have been one of the biggest chokes of all time if they had have lost that one. They led by 44 points at one stage and only ended up winning by 12-13 points. So yeah, I really haven't been convinced at all by their last 2 wins, and even though they are in the top 8, I don't overly think they're a top 8 worthy side. Kicking off the top 8 now, we have Richmond, who are on the actual ladder in 9th spot, and no, I'm not going to do the "we finished 9th again" theme song again. That's been done to death by me already this year. Yeah, Richmond, their losses, I mean, they really should have won most of those games, and even the one they drew, they should have won that game. Had so many opportunities to just get any score on the board, really. But they finally won a close game against Brisbane, who, well, I mean, we know how bad Brisbane are at the MCG, haven't won there since 2014, but that's not to take anything away from Richmond. I think from here, unfortunately, they probably are going to make finals now. I'd rather not see them in finals, but I think it's going to happen. I think they'll make finals. Yeah, they have a reasonable fixture compared to St Kilda, who are the 8th ranked side on the ladder right now. So yeah, and I think they've just been playing a bit better as of late than St Kilda, even though St Kilda won 2 games, and Richmond only won their first game in a month last weekend. But yeah, I think Richmond make the 8, so I'll have them 8th on this power rankings list. In 7th spot now, I've got a team that's dropped away a bit lately, and that is Carlton. And I still don't think they've wrapped up a top 8 spot yet, because their last 3 matches come against 3 top 4 sides, and I mean, it doesn't get much tougher than that for a run home. Look, I think I think there's every bit of potential that Carlton could still miss the 8. Right now, I still think they're a top 8 worthy side. They have been for most of the season. Gotten very unlucky with injuries this year. If not for that, they'd probably finish a bit higher. But yeah, I mean, it would be quite funny to see them from here miss the top 8. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing that, even if it comes at the expense of Richmond making the 8, honestly. But yeah, Carlton right now I think are the 7th best side, and well, maybe they won't be for much longer. Who knows if I'll even be talking about them when I do my next power rankings video. But 7th spot for Carlton right now. From here on out, now we're going to be looking at teams that have definitely, almost certainly, locked up their spot in the top 8. The lowest ranked of those teams right now is Fremantle. Look, a few weeks ago I'd probably be putting them top 4, top 2. At one stage they were even potentially, you could consider the best team in the AFL currently, but they've dropped away. Will they hit any good form running into finals? You'd hope so if you're a Fremantle fan. I think they should still get a home final. I don't see Carlton overtaking them, and I don't see Richmond or St Kilda overtaking them. So I think they're pretty safe to at least have a home elimination final, but top 4 looks unlikely now. It's still potentially on the cards, but it's just, especially with Brisbane losing, but with the form that Collingwood and Sydney are in right now, it looks very unlikely. So yes, Fremantle in 6th spot. In 5th spot now we have the Brisbane Lions. For a lot of the season they were considered probably the 2nd best team, or one of the best teams. Either way, they were considered a premiership fancy, but not anymore. They just simply can't win at the MCG, and if you can't win at the MCG, you can't win big finals, you can't win the grand final. And I mean, they're probably not even going to make top 4 now. The other teams ahead of them are just in too good a form right now for them to really look like making the top 4. They just scraped in last year. Maybe they'll do the same thing again this year. I can't really see it happening. But yeah, I don't think they're a genuine premiership threat anymore. They just don't play well enough at the MCG or in finals, and they've been a bit shaky as of late. So yeah, Brisbane 5th. Starting off the top 4 now, we've got the Sydney Swans. They've been arguably the most informed team of the last month. They've just been playing exciting footy. They've been getting big wins. Look, they've just been, I mean, at one stage it was looking potentially like they could bottle a top 8 spot. I mean, it was unlikely, but it was a possibility. Now they've definitely locked in their place inside the top 8 and look set for a top 4 positioning, as they have a fairly easy last 3 games. They have North Melbourne this week, Collingwood, that's going to be a tough one, and then St Kilda in the final week, which they'll go favourites into that. So yeah, I think Sydney, they should finish top 4. If not, they'll have a home elimination final. And I think they're definitely, probably, arguably the most informed team in the comp, definitely of the last month. Well, who would have seen this coming at the start of the year? Collingwood, in my opinion, are the 3rd best team in the competition right now. They are on 10 wins in a row. It's going to be tough the next 3 weeks for them though. Some of their wins haven't been the most convincing as of late, but you know, whatever. They've won 10 in a row. They deserve a bit of credit. They've just been playing really solid footy. They're easily the most clutch team in the competition. They just seem to be able to win all the close ones. Their last 5 wins now have been by under 10 points. A lot of them by under a goal. So yeah, they've been clutching it out. They've been getting it done. It hasn't been easy for them, but they've been getting the wins, and that's all that matters. Inside the top 2 now, we've got the Demons, who for the first time all year, I'm not going to be putting first on my power rankings list. Yeah, they've been a bit shaky. They got a very good win, a very solid win over Fremantle in the West. It was a big win for them, got them back on track. I'd still say they're probably the team I'd tip to win the premiership from here. However, they're not currently the best side in the competition, I think it's fair to say. Well, it's obvious who the best team is right now, and we'll get into them right now. The first ranked side, to absolutely no one's surprise, for the first time this year in my power rankings video, is the Geelong Cats. They've won the last 10 games. There's absolutely no doubting that they are clearly the best team in the competition right now. They are the Premiership favourites. I think there's a very good chance they'll be in the grand final. Look, like I said, they've won the last 10 games, and they've had some pretty convincing victories in there, unlike Collingwood with their last 10 games. But they're on top of the table. They fully deserve it. They've just had an incredible year so far. Could they potentially go undefeated into finals and be on a 13-win streak by the time their finals rolls around? It's a possibility. We'll have to wait and see. They do have a reasonable fixture. I know they have St Kilda this week. Next week they have the Gold Coast, and in the final match they have the West Coast Eagles at GMHBA Stadium, where the Eagles play beyond horrifically at, so they should win that by, well, they'll probably win it by over 100 points, to be honest. But yeah, I think there's a real possibility they go 13 wins in a row going into finals. Obviously, they have a terrible record in week 1, so they might bottle that one anyway. But yeah, Geelong, they're clearly the best team in the competition. There's absolutely no denying that. And that'll be it for today's power rankings. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This will be my final power rankings video of the home and away season. I'll do one in another 3 weeks for the finalist teams. Hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.